What's going on, everybody? This is JohnJake Baseball on the mic here, coming at you with some divisional series playoff action here as we have it wrapped down to the 8 teams that are competing for the Season 2 USBL Championship. And it should be a really good episode on hand, so I hope you guys are excited for it. Make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe if you have to be brand new as we officially get things underway, starting with the Aurora Lightning, who are the NL Central champions and are making their very first playoff appearance. They are going to be taking on the Philadelphia Patriots in this series. Philadelphia being swept by San Francisco last year in this round, albeit they did make it all the way to the World Series. So should be a really good episode on tap. Should be a really good series on tap. We'll see what ends up happening in this series. Does Philadelphia also end up getting their revenge, or are we going to see Aurora potentially be a little bit of a Cinderella, make it to that NLCS, as the Rookie of the Year is actually going to belt one out into left field? Justin Upton having a really difficult time handling that baseball. And hey, Aurora not looking rattled at all, or not looking like the moment's too big whatsoever. They get off to a really nice start here in this first inning. They end up taking an early 3-0 lead. So that gives plenty of run support to Zach Pelzak, who was pretty solid in the regular season. 4.07 ERA, 14-9 record, but this Philadelphia team is built different. I mean, you're led by Bryce Harper, one of the best batters in all of baseball, and you can see right there why. Is Bryce Harper able to take advantage and gonna get the Philadelphia Patriots on the board as well? A nice double out there in center field. Booker Hobbs could not catch up to that one. So it sets up an opportunity for Bruce Springer to potentially get some more people home, but he's gonna actually strike out for the first out of the inning. But DJ LeMahieu, he might be able to do something, at least gets the ball in play. So Philadelphia does end up getting a nice response. They do strand the runner on third base. So a 3-2 lead still for the Lightning, but a nice response from Philadelphia. Let's go ahead and jump into the bottom of the 5th inning, as Bryce Harper is back at the plate once again. Has a runner on third, as this is hit up into the sky. Booker Hobbs is able to come down and make a catch on it. But Philadelphia is still going to tie things up, so Bryce Harper is going to be worked with the sacrifice fly. And this game is now officially tied up at 3. As now we go into the top of the 6th inning. Anthony Rendon comes up to the plate, and he had a really good regular season. 318 batting average, 33 home runs, and 103 RBIs as well. Also drew a walk earlier in this game. We'll see if Max Fried got the sauce to take out Anthony Rendon as he takes this one out of the left center field. It's gone like a girl in a country song. Solo shot. And Anthony Rendon with his first hit of the postseason in a massive way. And Darwin Castro now comes into the game for Philadelphia, as we continue to see Aurora showing out here really in this first game, as we see not only a double, this could have potentially been a triple. They did get it in relatively quickly though. Nice job by Justin Upton, even though he did avoid the cutoff man, so not really something smart. But how about this Rookie of the Year though? Joseph Trowalski. He's got a name that's long and hard to pronounce, at least in terms of last names, but Trowalski though, that man is a baller. He can ball out, and he helps Aurora actually go ahead and extend the lead. Matter of fact, they're up 6-3 right now, as Anthony Rendon, he's back at the plate again, as we got a steal over on second place. And how about Isaiah Khalil Khalifa with a nice steal, as it puts a runner into scoring position. And Rendon, he's going to go yard for this one as well, as that gets out into center field. And how about back-to-back for Anthony Rendon? And now Aurora has an 8-3 lead, As Michael Baez, he's going to come in. Not a lot of experience, at least they're not showing it for him. Somehow has a save, even though technically did not have an appearance. I don't know how that worked for MLB to show. Every sports game has its little glitches and whatnot. Hopefully they can work on that a little bit. But top of the ninth inning, Cholowski having himself a great day so far. 2 for 4. Got that homer. Got a single. Has 4 RBIs. He's really been an absolute difference maker for the Aurora Lightning here in game number 1. So we'll see if he can still have that breakout day here as he takes on Alejandro Sapida. Got runners on first and second. And Cholowski is going to send this one out to left center field. Is this another home run? Yes, it is. Oh, my. Look at that. 382 feet. That's the second home run for Josh Cholowski. And it's a commanding lead now for the Aurora Lightning. It's 11-3. As Philadelphia will be going to the bullpen again. John Barreba going to come in and mop up duty. But even though he was pretty solid, in the mop up, at the same time, though, it is just barbecue chicken. Aurora's bats, they were roaring in this one. They brought the thunder and lightning. And Aurora steals game number 1 on the road as they will win this one by a final score of 11-3 here in game number 1. So what a great way to start this divisional action as we go into the other side of the country. 2 NL West teams going up against each other. We have the LA Saints and the San Francisco Seals meeting up here in the divisional series on the National League side. And this is actually a rematch from season number 1. Now remember, LA was the higher seed, but San Francisco did end up going ahead and sweeping them, but now the roles are reversed. San Francisco hosting, and the LA Saints get off to a nice start here in the top of the second inning. A solo home run for Trevor Story, and it does help the LA Saints get a 1-0 game here early, but San Francisco will respond in the bottom of the 4th as they get things going here with Paul Goldschmidt. He's going to hit this one out to that left field wall and will get himself into second base. So we do end up seeing a runner in scoring position for the very first time for the San Francisco Seals. As that will bring up Nick Castellanos, who hits this one out in the right center field, and it's missed. The ball is missed, so instead of it being the second out, suddenly we have 2 runners in scoring position. Now, unfortunately, Paul Goldschmidt, not very fast, can't take advantage, but Willie Adames will make sure he gets to go home. We got not only 1 run to score, but also 2 runs. So San Francisco taking their first lead of this series up 2-1. As we now jump into the bottom of the 5th inning, bottom of the order, Randall Grushek coming up to the plate, but is going to be fooled by Kyle Hendricks, who only has garnered his 2nd strikeout of the entire game so far. As we have another hit out into right center field, it's going to get all the way out to the wall, and it's going to be, no, they're going to try for a triple here. The throw, not in time, and we have a triple on our hands. How about that effort by Reyes? So now an additional run waiting, as it looks like, oh, what are they doing? That's not even necessary. So Ozzy Albies gonna get credited with an RBI in one of the most unique ways, as Albies does get to go home, or at least bring in a run. And look at this, another error on the catcher. 2 errors in 1 singular inning, not only costing it out there, but also costing a run at the same time. So Kyle Hendricks will not be awarded with an earned run in that circumstance, but wow, man, oh man, is that a really tough look to go ahead and deal with, as it's now a 3-1 game when it really didn't need to be. Granted, could have been a 3-1 game anyways, but the errors do not help the cause whatsoever. So now LA is down by 2 runs in this game, almost getting that throw out from right field, by the way. That was an amazing dot. But Trevor Story with the RBI single gets him back into this game. And San Francisco is going to go to the bullpen here, calling in Tyler Metzak. Big situation here as Mike Yastrzemski had a chance to tie this game up, but got it into a routine double play. And Tyler Metzak coming through with a massive pitch that saves the lead for San Francisco. That could be really big down the line as we now jump into the 9th inning. And we'll see if Brad Hand can go ahead and close things out. We got Yastrzemski striking out there, second out of the inning. So 1 out away from the San Francisco Seals taking game 1 of the NLDS. As we got a ball hit out to left field, and it might not be done yet. And this ball is gone. Solo shot for Brian Anderson. And this game is now tied at 3 apiece. Patrick Dwyer, he is going to get involved as well. He looks to try to take the lead for the LA Saints. Rounding second, he's going to remain there at second base. So this game, all knotted up at 3 apiece. And guys, we're going to actually get a little bit of extra innings action here, as we will go ahead and see some extra innings baseball. Jump to the bottom of the 11th. Both teams going in both directions. As Kyle Lewis, I don't even know what he's doing, just giving up on the baseball. If this is a solo shot inside the park at home run, that ends the game. Willie Adames with a walk-off inside the park home run. You cannot make this up. And the San Francisco Seals are going to end up winning game number 1 in 11 innings of action. So a 4-3 win for them. And wow, you absolutely love to see it. So one team that made the World Series last year, they win their first game. We'll see if the Chicago Freeze can do the same thing. Chicago, they are taking on an up-and-coming team in the Boston Quakers, who probably one of the most improved teams, went from being a USBL seller at the deadline to now a division champion. They're here in the playoffs. They didn't even have to play in the wild card game either. But we'll see if Chicago can work itself back into the World Series. Defending champs, the path starts now. And off to a solid start here after 1 inning of play, as Michael Brantley does end up hitting a solo home run. As that will go ahead and jump into the top of the 2nd, as Jake Marinowski, he was acquired in the USBL trade day back in year number 1. He ends up striking out there as we take a quick look at the postseason bracket, seeing where everyone is right now. Gonna be playing every single game in the postseason. So you're gonna be seeing game 1 and game 2 of all of the divisional series here today, and then there's going to be a second episode that will be dropping later this week. And when that second episode drops, that's going to hopefully wrap up the rest of the divisional series. And then if there's still series have not been decided after 4 games, because it is a 5-game series for the divisional round, then we will have YouTube premieres for that, for series deciding games for any game 5s that do end up popping up. But Boston right now, they have a 3-1 lead, as Robert Puason does end up striking out there, but definitely someone with a really bright future ahead of him. Dude was a top prospect last year, first year at the USBL level full-time, actually. I believe he was acquired from the Houston Hurricanes in the USBL trade day back in year 1, if I'm not mistaken. So great pickup for him, from the Boston Quakers for sure, as he's someone that's making a difference, as we trying to see a double steal here. It's successful at second base, but runner is thrown out at third, and we'll see if Noah Syndergaard gets out of it, and he does. Vasquez just gonna end up doing a little bit of window shopping, as he is going to actually strike out looking. But a 5-1 lead nonetheless for Boston, and it seems like every time we do end up seeing the Boston Quakers in these USBL games, you know, watching them in action live instead of like simulating, it seems like it's always a high scoring game, and it's certainly trending towards that path right now as we see yet another home run. This time Reese McGuire able to get a hold of one, 402 feet. But Noah Syndergaard is actually going to get pulled really early. They're going to bring in Nick Pivotto in the top of the 4th inning. So Noah Syndergaard, one of the aces on the Chicago Freeze staff, is actually going to be knocked out of the game early, and this could end up being another home run. Did it get it? No. So Mookie Betts hits a 3-run home run, and this Boston offense is really going off right now. 8-2 lead here. Definitely one of the higher scores that we've seen so far today, and they're not even remotely done yet. Top of the 5th inning, we see another double, maybe a triple here. Are they going to try to throw? No. They're not going to attempt to make the throw at third base. Just going to try to go ahead, take it home. So here we are, barbecue on the titties. Jake Marinofsky with a chance to go ahead and bring the run in. And while he will be thrown out at first base, he did at least make contact with the baseball. And it's another RBI. So Boston, 9-2 lead here. It is starting to really get really out of hand right now, as they do end up getting out of this inning eventually, but not a good showing for the Chicago Freeze pitching staff today from the starter Noah Syndergaard, or for what we saw from the bullpen so far. I mean, allowing 9 runs in less than 6 innings of action, that's not winning baseball. You cannot win games this way. It's just straight up and down, as we do end up seeing Robert Puason at the plate once again. We do see a quick throw over to first base. As now, Pivotto with the 0-0 pitch. He's going to hit this one out in the center field. Does it leave? No, he can't make the play. Outs for Dangu. Now has to rush to get the baseball. Puason going to third. They try to throw it home, and it's an RBI triple. And yet another run for the Boston Quakers. It's a 10-2 lead. And Chicago does go to the bullpen again. Ian Kennedy, who is making his 78th appearance of the season, so definitely a seasoned vet, but desperately needing a hold, but they're not going to get it. Puason is just simply too fast, and Verdango just does not have that elite arm out in center field. It's just not built that way. So an 11-2 game now, definitely really in risk of getting out of hand. If it gets to a case where it is like 10 runs or more, I will cut it early, you know, get right to the box score. You know what I'm saying? You know, it won't necessarily be like the regular season games where I just showed a box score, but, you know, I will cut the highlight early. Want to give you guys as much playoff action as possible, of course, as we still have an 11-2 lead. But Andrelton Simmons looks to help the cause out a little bit. He's going to hit a solo shot out into left field, a 380-footer. And so Chicago at least gets one more run on the board, but it's 11-3 still. It's still a pretty lopsided game for the time being, and Boston's not even done yet, as Paul DeJong, he's going to hit an absolute monster shot out into left field, and that's an absolute no-doubter. Home run for him. So now it's a 12-3 game. Oliver Perez has to come in here to try to clean things up a little bit. Jonathan Villar acquired from the Phoenix Firebirds with a chance to get some more runs on board. Gonna be called out, but it's not like that they needed them. They scored 12 runs. Chicago could not keep up here in game number 1. And if the rest of the series goes like this, are we gonna see a potential changing of the guard? Remember, Chicago, they're a little bit of an older team. They have a more veteran presence, and they traded away some key prospects in order to get, you know, a Jose Abreu. So I'll have to keep an eye on that series. That could be really interesting down the line. But first, let's check in on the final game 1 here. We have the number 1 seed in the American League, the Honolulu Islanders. They relocated from San Jose, and they get rewarded with a playoff appearance. And then the Minnesota Ducks, who made that great comeback in the wild card game. And speaking of the wild card game, I was checking the YouTube analytics for the baseball channel here, and I just wanted to thank you guys so much real quick. That Pittsburgh Force versus Minnesota Ducks game, that we had the other day. Most watched game in USBL history. So thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Glad y'all are enjoying it. Hopefully we can build off of that, man, for sure, as you know, we see this playoff action heating up quite a bit over here. And we'll see if Minnesota is that team that could be the Cinderella and potentially make it to the World Series. That's what San Francisco did. Took Chicago to a Game 7. So they almost lost the World Series, mind you. So we'll have to keep an eye on that for sure. But Honolulu, they're looking to make sure that that doesn't happen. They take an early 2-0 lead. As we take a look at Matt Chapman at the plate, bottom of the 4th inning. As Brady Singer, he's still in the game as Chapman. He gets a hold of one in left field. And Hawaiian Airlines Field is going to get absolutely ruckus. A 407-foot shot makes it a 3-0 game. Brady Singer will calm things down after that. But the Honolulu Islanders, they are playing really good here early in this game. And Minnesota, man, they need to strike back. They need to play well here. As we jump into the top of the 5th inning, Shed Long Jr., very bottom of the order, he gets a hold of one. And Minnesota will end up getting themselves onto the board. So Minnesota at least not going to be shut out here in game number 1 as Fernando Tatis Jr., probably one of the future guys of pro baseball, gonna strike out there, but Minnesota is on the board nonetheless. And look at this, Brady Singer is going to be pulled out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Emmanuel Claus coming into the game. He was playing really well in that wild card outing in order to help the Minnesota Ducks come back and be in this situation. As we see Fernando Tatis Jr. mishandle that ball, and that's going to be a costly error. That's going to end up bringing in a run. And as talented as Tatis is, he is a little bit of a liability sometimes at the shortstop. That's why he hasn't, reached that full 99 overall yet. Still needs to work on his defensive prowess. Not necessarily be a gold glover, but just be not a liability on defense, and then you're literally the perfect player. Like straight up and down. Instead, cost a run. Clase does get out of the inning with no more damage, but a run that could have easily been avoided. That's for sure. And now the Ducks are down 3 runs. So now you're getting to the top of the 7th inning. There's not a lot of time to make up this deficit. And this offense for Hawaii, they got some guys. You got Matt Chapman. He's a good guy. Anthony Rizzo, Eloy Jimenez, Mike Trout. There's a lot of guys in this Hawaii lineup. You do not want to try to play catch up here. So starts for Minnesota, if they want to pull the upset on Honolulu, is going to be really crucial in this series. If Hawaii gets to an early lead, they're likely going to finish those games. But that being said, they're still fighting out here, man. Tyler Rogers going to come in, face Tatis Jr. again. Having a hard day at the plate, though. 0 for 3 so far in the ball game. But we do see a steal at second base. So now there is a runner in scoring position as Tatis Jr. He's going to ground out to the third baseman, Matt Chapman. And this inning is going to be over. So we only see Thad Gonzalez, get in with a run of their own. Still a 2-run game. We'll see if they can go ahead and try to get back into this comeback. And that ball is hit out to right center field, and it is gone like a girl in a country song. Home run. The second home run of this postseason for Will Smith. And speaking of Will Smith, there is another one on the Hawaii team. He's a relief pitcher. Really missed out on a potential Will Smith on Will Smith crime. You know what I'm saying? And now Minnesota is only down by 1. And Shad Long Jr., golden opportunity to bring some people home. And that could be really big if it drops. No, it is going to be the second out of the inning. But the tying run is going to be able to get across none of the less. So we'll tie ball game now here in the top of the 8th inning, as Ryan Stanek is going to come in now, his 22nd appearance of the year. As now Thad Gonzalez, he's going to go ahead. He's going to take a nice big cut to try to bring people home, but He completely misses, as that was not in the strike zone. And you can tell the emotion. This game matters. You know, it's postseason baseball. It just means a lot more, you know. But this game all tied up at 4 apiece, as Minnesota is going to go ahead and make some substitutions in this one. As we go ahead, we got Andrew Chapman coming into the game, his first appearance of the postseason, taking on Gustavo Severino, as that might have gone into the gap, as that's airmailed. That ball was out of play. Oh my, that's not even on Tatis, I don't think. So could have been a tailor-made double play, and that inning could have been over. But instead, Oscar Moncada, he's got a chance to take the lead, and he's going to be able to get this ball down. Doesn't leave the outfield, does only reach the warning track, but Hawaii does have the lead once again. So that being said, 5-4 game, and that's how the score was. That's the ultimate difference. Just those little things, you know, the errors of Minnesota on the defensive side of the field really cost them. They had a chance to win game 1, and they just couldn't go ahead and get the job done. So Honolulu, they do end up winning the first game of this series, and they will win by a final score of 5-4. So now we go ahead and jump into the game 2s here, as we come back to the Aurora Lightning, who did win game number 1 in impressive fashion. They won 11-3. Now we take a look at the starting pitcher for both teams. Corbin Burnes is going to be taking on Demelson Lamont. Both players who have struggled a little bit in the regular season, but they are going to go to him here, as we'll see if Josh Turowski can continue to build off his impressive rookie campaign, as his batting average is 600 in the postseason, and he has came out to play. Look at this. You want to talk about a potential breakout moment? We might be seeing one right in front of our eyes, you guys. Another double for the Rookie of the Year, repping from the National League. And it's going to lead to a couple of runs, as that ball stays in the park. But that's still going to bring in at least one run. Runner will stay at third base, and Josh Turowski, he's going to be able to get himself home, and the Aurora Lightning will strike first. A 1-0 game here in the top of the second inning. Corey Dickerson looking at bat onto it, as that is a nice little grab by Jesus Aguilar, as that could have easily been an extra base hit, the way that ball was hit. But it's still a 2-0 lead nonetheless. Make that 3-0, as a wild pitch is going to get by. And now 3-0 early in favor of the Aurora Lightning. And the thing is, there still is runners on second and third. Josh Turowski with a 2-0 count is going to hit this one out into left field. Justin Upton will be able to get under it. Throw over to the plate, and it's not in time. And Aurora takes a 4-0 lead. The Lightning came to play, man. They certainly came to play. They are not intimidated by the moment whatsoever. First postseason appearance in franchise history, as Benita Osuna comes to the plate now. 2-1 count. Hitting this one in the left center field, and it does somehow managed to drop. That should have been the third out, but that just didn't happen, man. I don't know what happened. You know, if he lost his lost it in the sun the last second. I'm not sure what went on, but Kyle Wright's going to come into this game, and once again, we see another starter knocked out early. Kyle Wright, who is making his first appearance in the entire season, he's now coming into the game for the very first time. Huge count, 2-2, and is going to get Zach Collins to sit down. So Kyle Wright, man, showing some poise, but Aurora is off to a really fast start, up 5-0 early. And that lead's only going to get bigger as we get into the top of the fourth, as Juan Bay thought he had himself a walk, and we thought we were going to have the bases loaded, but it's going to be a strikeout instead. Anthony Rendon, though, he's going to put a charge out into right center field. It will hit that right field wall. Bryce Harper gets it in relatively quickly, but there will be no attempt in terms of a throw home. And it's a 6-0 game in favor of the Aurora Lightning. So Kyle Wright, he's going to get a visit from the manager on the mound, trying to get things straightened out real quick. Definitely a big situation here to make sure this game does not get out of control as Dominic Smith swings on an inside pitch. That could have been a hit by pitch, but instead it's going to be the second out of this inning. As Josh Towalski back at the plate, and he's going to send a shot in the center field, and that's an absolute no-doubter. Nobody's going to move an inch, and it is gone like a girl in a country song. And how about this? Only 2 games for the rookie. 3 home runs in this postseason. Absolutely insane what we're seeing. And it's a 9-0 game right now. It has been absolutely insane what Aurora's been able to do. And Philadelphia's got to get some runs across the plate. They only have 1 hit to show for it in this entire game. We'll see if Bryce Harper can get him back on track a little bit, as they're down 9-0 already here in this bottom of the 4th inning. As Harper, he's going to get a hold of one down in the center field as well. Is this going to lead the ballpark? It's going to be close, and it's gone. Booker Hobbs mistimes to jump, and Bryce Harper gets Philadelphia on the board. And Philadelphia, I don't know how they're going to do it. Down 9-1 still. This could make it 9-3, as that's also going to lead the ballpark. So a 9-3 ball game might be able to make things a little bit interesting. As Vlad Guerrero Jr., he's going to hit this one out deep in the right center field as well. He is actually going to be a free agent after this offseason, so he is auditioning for a bigger contract potentially, whether at be for the Philadelphia Patriots or with another team potentially. You never know what can happen in the USBL, as that is going to be belted in the center field. And this is exactly the inning that the Patriots need to get back into this game. And it's 9-5 now. Justin Upton making it the 3rd home run of that inning. And they're getting back into this game, man. Now remember, they were down 9-0, and Philadelphia is answering the bell, no pun intended, for the city of brotherly love, as it's now a 9-6 game. It's only a 3-run difference, and it's a big day for the Patriots too. If they can make this comeback happen, this would be ideal. You do not want to go down 2-0 and have 2 more road games to deal with after this one. So definitely need to come through and make some things shake here, as it's now officially a 9-6 game. Darwin Castro will come in. He did pitch in the 1 game, but he allowed 2 runs in that 1 inning, as Aurora just continues to bring the Thunder and Lightning combination. A 3-run shot into left center field. Kiki Hernandez. Kiki, do you love me? And another pitcher for Philadelphia, Alejandro Sapida, comes in. Massive ERA, 81 ERA here in the postseason, but he cleans things up here in the top of the 7th inning at the very least. But man, oh man, this is not how Philadelphia imagined things whatsoever. They're now down by 6 runs. But Aurora making an interesting decision. They're going to go with Greg Holland, the 36-year-old reliever, who has not made an appearance the entire season. So definitely a little bit of a head scratcher to say the least, but it is what it is. And it shows here, you know, with the lack of experience in this season, as Greg Holland gives up a really big play and clears the bases. Should be a 3-run double. And now the Patriots are back in this game again, 12-9. Aurora still has the lead, but it is going to get chopped down a little bit as we jump into the bottom of the 8th inning. Steve Cishik, who has a little bit of save experience, but he also gives up a home run. And it's now just a 1-run game. You cannot make any of this up right now. Justin Upton, 2nd home run of the game. And they're down by just 1 run. Tying run also going to be at 2nd base now too. So a base hit all of a sudden could very well make this a tie ball game. We'll see if Jesus Aguilar can deliver. 2-2 count. He's going to hit a base hit down the right-hand side. And like I said, brother's got some speed. Going to need a big throw, and he's not going to get it. And a team that was down 9-0, all of a sudden, it is a tie ball game now. All knotted up at 12 apiece. You want to talk about the 28-3 deficit? Let's try 9-0. Aurora is blowing it in a huge way right now. As they go to the bullpen once again, Travis Lankins Sr. Here we go. Will Castro coming in, 0-0 count. First pitch of the game, and that's going to squeak through. And it's going to be runners on first and third, unless this throw is a dot. No, it is not. Runners are going to be on the corners. And yet they do end up getting stranded. However, tie ball game, and all of a sudden, Philadelphia has a chance to win this game. Bottom of the ninth, Bryce Harper with a chance to win it, and he hits one right field. Is it a fair ball? Yes or no? That's the only question, and it is gone. Home run, and Philadelphia with a fantastic comeback. They are going to win game number 2 here in the USBL. One of the greatest comebacks in USBL history, coming in a big moment. It might save Philadelphia's season. There's still plenty of baseball action that needs to be played. We'll have to wait and see what ends up happening with that. But we get 2 walk-offs already in this episode. How about that for playoff baseball, man? So Philadelphia wins by a final score of 13-12. So we'll see how this next game, definitely hard to live up to the game that we just watched there. As we go ahead and check in on game number 2, and San Francisco did win a tight one back in game number 1, winning in the extra innings. So definitely both bullpens for both teams are a little bit taxed right now, to say the least. So going to be important for both of these starting pitchers to, try to get as deep as possible, as that ball is mishandled. And that's going to turn into an error. So not an ideal start, as that leaves runners on first and second base. Brian Anderson is going to come up. He's only batting 111 right now as that gets to right center field. That's going to bring in at least 1 run. Could potentially be 2 here. Rounding home, throw over into center field, and there is going to be no attempt at home. So LA will start things off here in game number 2 between the LA Saints and the San Francisco Seals, taking a 2-0 lead early. But you already know the defending National League champs, when they're down bad, they're going to respond. Bottom of the second, Randall Grushek hits one out in the center field. Kyle Lewis almost making a fantastic play on the baseball, but can't quite get his glove around fast enough. That is a really difficult play to ask for your center fielder, but that's why you're a professional, to be able to potentially make those kinds of plays out there. And that will end up bringing in a run as a result of it. So a 2-1 game early, as a tying run for San Francisco is on second base. So a base hit can bring somebody home, but Josh Donaldson, he's going to go ahead and strike out, and Seth Beer as well get out of the inning. And Seth Beer is going to strike out. So runners end up getting stranded on first and second base. And the Seals end up down here early. Top of the 5th. Patrick Dwyer hits a little flare out in the left center field. Does almost reach the wall. He's going to attempt for second base. Definitely some pretty aggressive base running that we're seeing from this Los Angeles baseball team. As it brings up Cesar Mora up at the plate as he hits a base hit down the line. And that is going to remain a fair ball as well. Trying for 2 bases, and he's going to slide in there just in time. The throw was a little bit off target, though. It's a 3-1 game, and Freddie Freeman has a chance to extend it even further. 1-0 count. Here comes the delivery. Freeman out to left center field, and that also gets hit. And that's going to make it a 4-1 game. Freddie Freeman with an RBI double. Thought about going to third base, but a little bit too risky. Didn't want to risk it for the biscuit, man. Already got the double, and San Francisco starter does not go very far whatsoever. So Nathan Olivandi already making his second appearance in 2 games, but he will at least strike out Kyle Lewis nonetheless. So no one else scores, the damage is certainly done. It does make it a 4-1 lead. And the Saints are also still in the meat of their order as well. We can't forget about Trevor Story. He's a bad man not to be messed with, as you can find out right here, right field. Castellanos watching this one go right over the wall, and it is another home run for Trevor Story, as the LA Saints do end up extending their lead, as it does end up 5-1. As we go ahead and jump into the bottom of the 7th inning, Nick Goody is going to come into the game. So nice performance from the LA starter. That's exactly what they needed. Now the bullpen needs to do its job. Willie Adames with a fresh count. He's going to hit one into left center field. Is it going to hang on? Is it going to drop? No, it does drop. Wow. Drops right in between two outfielders. Both of them trying to get a beat on the baseball, but none of them able to make the catch. And now a runner in scoring position, Josh Donaldson. Even as an 8-hitter, he's a bad man. He will end up probably being called out here unless there's something a little wonky going on. But second out is going to be made none of the less, and San Francisco does get another run across. And LA will be going to their bullpen again. AJ Minter coming in, his first postseason appearance in year number 2, and cleans things up with relative ease, getting Seth Beer to ground out to Freddie Freeman over on first base. But only a 3-run game all of a sudden, so definitely still anybody's game here, as you know, San Francisco trying to make a rally. Ozzie Albies gonna hit this one by the wall, and it doesn't leave the ballpark, but runners on second and third trying to get home. Here comes the throw at home, not in time. So Ozzie Albies getting himself an RBI double in that situation, and it's just a 2-score game. All of a sudden, LA going to the bullpen again. Archie Bradley getting the call out. First appearance of the postseason as well, and a difficult task. Nick Castellanos with the opportunity to tie this game up. 2-1 count, right center field. This has the height, does it have the distance? And no, it doesn't. It drops right in the outfield wall, but Castellanos doing his job, and it is just a 1-score game right now, you guys. Still could be anybody's game. Bottom of the 9th, Seth Beer with an absolute chance to be a hero against Edwin Diaz. Center field, it is hit pretty well, but unfortunately, it is right in front of Kyle Lewis. He hardly had to move. And the LA Saints are going to go ahead and tie things up. They win game number 2. So this series is going to be tied up at 1 apiece. 2 of the series that we're seeing, both tied up at 1 so far. So definitely seeing some more competitive playoff series so far, as LA gets the win. So 2 more games left in this at least in this postseason episode before we wrap up the first part of the divisional series. So we jump in game number 2 between the Boston Quakers and the Chicago Freeze. And Chicago did end up losing game number 1, so big game here for sure. It is pretty much a must win. You know, don't want to go back to Boston in a 2-0 deficit, to say the least. But the key is, you know, finding a way to stop this Boston offense. They have had some pretty hot bats so far in this season, and it seems like no matter who they go up against, they just haven't had a way to go ahead and figure out what's going on, right? So it is what it is, but top of the 2nd inning, going to be already runners in the corner, and Christian Vasquez, he's going to hit a little grounder into a double play, but it's still manufacturing a run. So no, Vasquez is a little bit disappointed about the double play, but that being said, at least does end up being, you know, in the interest of bringing a run in. So Boston gets off to another early lead here. Same thing that we saw in game number 1. Will that lead to the same result, as Michael Brantley is trying to change that out into left field? Will this be caught? No! It is going to end up being a ground rule double. Wow. If it wasn't a ground rule double, Michael Brantley could have easily gotten a third base, but Xander Bogaerts taking care of business, brings in 1 run. Could be a second one right here as well. Brantley able to get himself home. So Chicago retakes the lead. They're now going to be up 3-1 in this one. As Joey Galloway, we know about Joey banging, but Joey cannot bang there. He is going to strike out swinging. And that's the thing with Joey Gallo, you know, he's either going to get you a home run or he's likely going to strike out. There's not really a lot of leeway between the two. So really a boom or bust guy, which not a problem because there is a lot of talent in this lineup still, even though maybe not necessarily as good of a record as last year. But that being said, Boston's giving him a run, man. As we see Poisson, we're going to try to get the third, and he is going to be able to slide in there. And it's not actually Robert Poisson, it's actually Jake Marinowski. He was acquired in the USBL trade day from New York. So definitely been some good trades, man, that Boston made back in season number 1. It's really have panned out extremely well in terms of their future. Those two guys, you know, right there, as well as Robert Poussin, a big reason why they're in the postseason this season. It's really been an amazing turnaround for the Boston Quakers, going from worst to first within their own division. As Mike Tauchman's going to be able to hit this one out into center field. That should be able to bring in another run, and that will all of a sudden time this ball game right back up. It is now knotted up at 3 apiece. And we certainly got a really competitive game in store. Top of the 6th, Mookie Betts at the plate. He's going to hit this one out in the left field, and it's going to be able to get to the wall. Looks like first and second here. So how about them apples? Mookie Betts now up there. Going to try to hit another one, and that also ends up dropping. So this should end up being a run, and bases are certainly loaded. And if they're not careful here, it could turn into a bloodbath once again. Just like in game number 1. Muncy at the plate, 0-1 count. And it looks like could be a double play potentially, but it's airmailed. It's going to be airmailed, and that's going to be a run across as well. So the bases do end up being cleared. And Boston now with a 3-run lead. Once again, Ian Kennedy has to come in now to try to clean things up. The good news is that there is 2 outs in this inning, so not a lot of work. You know, just got to take care of Paul DeJong, and he will end up doing just that. So we'll end up at least getting the strikeout there, and it is going to be a 6-3 lead for Boston. As now, top of the 7th inning, Edwin Rios at the plate. He's 1 for 3 so far on the day, as that's hit out to left field. This has some distance on him, and it is gone. Like a girl in a country song. Home run for Edwin Rios. And it's now a 7-3 lead. Vasquez looking to join in. Takes a huge cut at that baseball. But Will Harris will be getting the strikeout there. As 2 batters later, we got Mike Tauchman at the plate here in the bottom of the order. As we got a nice throw to second base. As Jake Marinowski trying to get to second base. And he had a good lead. You know, it was just a great play by Reese McGuire, and could have been more runs for Boston, but because of that stolen base opportunity not going the way that they wanted it to go, ends up being just a 7-3 game. Hopefully that doesn't bite them in the butt a little too much here, as you know, we are talking about the defending champions of the USBL. You know, until Boston gets over the hump, you know, can't take Chicago for granted, you know what I'm saying, as we do end up seeing a 2-run home run. Alex Verdugo makes it a 2-run game. So now 7-5 game going into the 9th inning, and it all comes down to this: can Boston pull another shocker, win game number 2, and go back to Boston with a 2-0 lead? Would be really good if they can do that. But first, Christian Vasquez, 0-2 count, gonna get struck out by Aroldis Chapman, who is on the decline quite a bit actually. But that being said, Mike Tauchman, 2-2 count, hits this one out to left field. It's gonna end up bringing in 1 run, 2 runs potentially, as it's now a 9-5 game for the Boston Quakers. And that will make this game just a little bit out of reach. And sure enough, Boston pulls the shocker, man. They win game number 2. and will take a 2-0 lead over the Chicago Freeze. So now they only need one more win in order to go ahead and advance to the ALCS. Definitely not something that I foresaw in terms of when this playoff started, but another impressive performance by Boston puts them one game away. So for the final game of this first part of the USBL postseason, we will be back here at Hawaiian Airlines Fields for game number 2 of this ALDS matchup between the Minnesota Ducks and the Honolulu Islanders. And this time, Honolulu will be trotting out Shohei Ohtani. But first plate appearance of the game, that's Gary Waters. He hits one out. Really nice ball out into right center field. And already a really good start for Minnesota. Already having a runner in scoring position. And that actually was a really well worked count as well. That, ended up being a full count. So definitely took some stamina off Shohei Ohtani early in this one. And quickly we're going to see a run get across. So it's already 1-0. And we've hardly gotten settled in the good old-fashioned chair in this one. A 1-0 game courtesy of Thad Gonzalez. We'll see if Fernando Tatis Jr. can bring him home. And he sure does. Gonna get right past the second baseman, man. And Tatis, he's thinking about third base potentially. And he should be able to get there. Nice throw to get home to avoid the inside the park home run. And the thing is, there still has not been any outs in this inning. And Will Smith, the cleanup hitter, gets another really well hit ball. And it's yet another run for Minnesota. So now it is a 3-0 lead here early. And Ohtani is in a little bit of trouble here now. As Poisson, he's going to hit this one out in the right field too. We'll at least bring in the second out. But, I mean, Will Smith, a little too quick. And it's going to end up being a 4-0 lead before Hawaii even has a chance to come up to bat. And the thing is, Hawaii's bats have, I don't know, they've been a little disappointing. They have really not performed up to par. They did have that August collapse last year, and part of the reason was because they just weren't hitting the ball that great. And the pitching staff having a hard time, carrying them through this little bit of a cold spout that they're going through right now. As we're here, still in the top of the 4th inning, and looks like we are going to see a strikeout, and nobody is going to be able to move. So, runners at the corners. Thad Gonzalez with a chance to extend the lead out in the left center field, and it's going to be gone. Another home run for Minnesota, and it's a 7-0 lead here. Only in the 4th inning, and Shohei Ohtani is going to be done. He does not even make it through 4 innings. So, Danny Duffy, he comes into the game now, full count, taking on Tatis Jr. And give Duffy credit for going right at him. A lot of relievers will maybe come in if it's a full count or a 3-1 situation. Maybe pitch him outside, have him walk, live another day. But give credit where credit is due for sure. Able to get through there as Ryan Yarbrough. He's still in the game, meanwhile, for Minnesota. And this is actually the first time that Yarbrough has been in any sort of trouble in this game. We got runners on second and third. One out, though, as it does bring up Darwin Castro. He did have a triple earlier in this game. Did not, of course, lead to any runs. Castro, 1-2 count. Gets it right up the middle of the field, and it's going to get through. This could bring in 2 runs. And it does bring in 2 runs. So an 2 RBI single for Darwin Castro as Hawaii is finally on the board. But still down by 5 runs nonetheless. And the pitching staff, they need to go ahead and do their jobs as well. Gary Cooper, he's at the plate. He's going to hit this one out into left field. And this is going to be hit deep. And that's going to get down somehow. As we go ahead, see your runner get to second base. And gonna go ahead and venture to say Garrett Cooper with another double. Can Mitch Heininger bring him home up the middle of the infield? That's gonna get through as well. Mike Trout trying to get it in as soon as possible, but just not a perfect throw, unfortunately, and that will end up being, yes, another run for the Minnesota Ducks. As now, still in the top of the 6th, Shed Long Jr. He's going to actually, there's a wild pitch situation, and it's going to cause another stolen base. So wild pitch there makes it 8-2. As Gary Waters looking to go to work here. 2-0 count. Going to go ahead, hit this ball out, and it's not even like they're hitting, like they're not like crushing the baseball, but they're just hitting it in spots where the Honolulu defense is simply not there. You know, they're taking advantage, you know, just nice timely hitting at the end of the day. And it's a big lead for Minnesota, looking to win their first game of this postseason potentially. Is now Drew Mendoza comes to the plate. He's 1 for 2. 1 out. Bottom of the 7th. And here comes a delivery from James Peso. Looking to hit this one in the left field. And it's going to get down the left field line. And it's going to get to the wall. A double. Is it going to be a triple potentially? No. But he did end up thinking about it though. You saw that little rounding from second base. And there is going to be a runner in scoring position. As here comes Darwin Castro. He's been having himself a much better day. 2 for 3. Can he add on to his totals though? Does have both RBIs for Hawaii. Another fresh count for James Peso. Looks to second base. Is going to go ahead and make the delivery. As Castro hits a no-downer into left field. And here comes Honolulu looking to put on the Rally Cats. And it's just a 5-run game. And Minnesota will also be going to the bullpen too. Craig Kimbrel looking to shut the door. Owen Miller, a rookie, looking to come in a big spot. But Tatis Jr. is going to be able to handle the baseball. And it will be the end of the 7th inning. It's been a great game for Darwin Castro. But the rest of the batting order for the Islanders just couldn't really step up today. As you know, baseball is really a team game. You know, you can have all these players, but if not everyone's on the same page, then, you know, you're not going to win a lot of baseball games. And that's what happened here. Darwin Castro trying to get his best to carry the team, and he came up short, man. You know, no fault to his own whatsoever. But Minnesota will end up winning game number 2. They will win this one by a final score of 9-4. So now the series is tied up at 1. Definitely some exciting baseball action. So guys, that is going to go ahead and wrap up today's USBL action. I hope you were, you know, excited and exhilarated with part 1 of the divisional playoff series games. Next time out, we will have games 3 and 4 for each of these series as necessary. And if we do end up with any game 5s, they will be YouTube premieres later on this week. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button. And if you happen to be brand new as well, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I would truly appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. But with that being said, this is JohnJake Baseball on the mic signing off. I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.